So finally got you here, bro. It's been a long time. A lot of people, since what you're going to talk about happened, so many people have been asking me how Seb, what happened to Seb, all that sort of stuff. Just for the people that are going to be watching this, explain sort of from the very start, the start of the day, and what happened when we know what happened to you.
Well, this is a normal day really. Set up from Leicester to go down to Tooting in London. On the way down there, having a laugh, having a joke. I'm sure we, me and a lad I work with, we was listening to her like in a pirate radio.
Yeah, is that guy you always post on your story?
Yeah. was listening to that, and it was like the guy was like talking on pirate radio. He was like, "Oh, text in." So I'm texting him. This is funny. So I texted him. He was like, "Yeah." So I texted, shouted it out on the radio. It was a crazy day. Warm, hot, lovely day.
Was this at the start of lockdown?
So
or we was before?
Yeah, it was April, so it was not long into it. I think it was like a few weeks into lockdown. So with us, like lockdown didn't really affect us with regards to like electrical work. So we're on the way, done the little text in to the radio, and then the lad got a call. It was his mate. He's an electrician as well. He's like, you never guess what's happened. He's like, what's happened, mate? What's happened? He was like, I'm at this house and I'm digging. He says, and I only hit a cable. He's like, what do I do? So I was like, put him on loudspeaker so we can find out what's happened and try and help him out. So anyway, he puts on loudspeaker, we're talking. He said, explain the cable. Explain what it was, and I said, "Is there any outhouses?" He went, "Yeah, it's down the bottom of the garden. There's an outhouse." I said, "No, that's obviously the feed for the outhouse." I says, "What did it do?" He says, "It's gone black in a boom." I said, "You know what? You need to like knock on the door and tell them what's happened and whatever." So that was it. We got to the job. We got on the job. The job was a complete tip.
Was this was outside of London? What city was this again?
So this is in London.
London,
so we travelled to London, got into the shop, and it was a complete tip. So got the drawings, had a look at the drawings, and then we started just kind of planning what we needed to do, whatever.
Of course, yeah.
So I was like, right, we need to chase out this floor before the flooring gets put down, because if we don't, we're going to be able to get no power to the counter. So anyway, we started doing that with hammer drills. They're called SDSs, like chasing out the floor, chiseling out the floor. So probably like two hours into work now, and I'm just getting hot. I'm sweating. It's like a graft. So I thought, this is long. So I stood up, took my top off, carried on. The lads next to me, he's hammer drilling away, both hammer drilling away. And then all of a sudden I said, what's that black stuff in it? It's kind of like black. It's a bit like tarry.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, man, I've never seen that before. Didn't think anything of it. So I kind of like moved over a little bit and carried on. Well, little did I know, that was the main income cable.
Oh, okay.
So, carried on. And it was kind of like probably this little black spot that we're looking at, that we seen earlier, was probably about 6 inches away from where I was like chasing out. So I've chased it like a hard bit, and the hammer drills kind of jumped out, and went straight into the cable. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it went boom!
Huge explosion.
And that was when it obviously happened. So
people know as well, because there's people that have asked me about the volt. How many volts?
410 volts. It was a 3-phase electric supply.
Wow.
So a normal house is obviously like 230, 240. So it was a 3-phase electrical supply.
And when that happened, the initial explosion, it was just pure blackout.
So obviously in the shop, had lights. They all went out. The place was.
I mean, within you.
Oh, with me.
Yeah, within you, bro.
Do you know what? This is where it becomes so weird, so complicated. because I remember it went so slow motion. I remember the noise, and I can remember a green colour in my eyes. I remember that, and I remember feeling really hot. But then I can remember looking at myself.
Wow.
I can remember looking at myself and saying, "Yo, bro, you're dead. You're dead." And then from then I can remember feeling something on my foot and having jelly legs, and then my legs coming back underneath me, and then instead of being across the shop looking at myself, I was now myself.
Wow.
And then I remember just like going towards a light, and you know when you say these things, I know it's going to be hard for people to understand, and you know when you hear people say, I seen the light. Do you want me to be honest, bro?
You seen that light?
I seen that light, and I just honestly thought I was gone.
Because you're the sort of person as well that wanted to say this sort of, it's not, people know you, they know it's not in your tendency to talk that way without any sort of meaning. You wouldn't just say it for the sake of it. So that's within your perspective, that is literally what you experienced. You felt like you seen that. Oh, well, I say you felt like from your experience, you've seen a lot. All these things you experienced. Did you? So with the memory, is there any sort of? Do you remember being taken to the hospital when it happened? Any sort of? From that point of view?
So see, from seeing that light, I naturally was drawn towards that light, and as I just took a few steps and then gradually started to run, I seen a figure of a guy.
Okay.
And that was the guy I worked with. And I ran out into the street, and it was just like black. I just seen black and mist. Oh
wow! So you literally ran into the street.
Yeah.
So someone passing by would have been a crazy experience. Yeah. Someone passing by to see obviously the condition you would have been in as well.
Yeah.
To then just run into the street. Wow.
And then I was just like completely black, holes all in my work trousers top. Obviously my arms and hands were all melted. My face was just completely just black. And the guy I work with, Jack, he's a godsend. I told you, that boy. So good, but I was like, he said, "Oh, you're alright." I went, "Yeah, I'm good, man, I'm good." I said, my eyes, just tell me my eyes, please." And he went, "Mate, you're not alright." And I looked at my hands, and I literally did this, and I went, "Oh," and naturally tried to flick.
Yeah.
And a piece of skin just peeled off, and it was just on the floor.
Because your adrenaline would have been pumping.
Pumping.
You would have been,
because I wasn't, at that point, I wasn't in pain.
No.
I didn't feel no pain. It was more, wow, oh my God, what? And the smell was just, it was mad. Like everything was burnt.
Do you feel like there would have been a part of you as well when it happened, probably telling yourself, okay, I'm cool, like the initial bit almost, and then obviously everyone around you telling you, and so going to, wow, see, I didn't know that, going to the hospital and stuff, you were still conscious and...
Yeah. Well, when we rang, my friend, he rang the ambulance, a paramedic turned up first. Obviously, this was like the middle of lockdown, and obviously, and like, you know, it was all crazy in London at that point. He turned up and he jumped out of the car, and as he was walking over to me, he was radioing saying, "I need an ambulance." So they sent him to have a look at me first, and before he's even examined me, he knew.
He knew the situation.
Then the paramedic got there in 3 minutes.
Wow.
The ambulance was there after 6 minutes, and then so the ambulance came, and they literally just like stripped me off.
Right there.
So now I'm in this busy street in London with just my boxers on.
Yeah.
They took everything off me, and then the fire brigade came.
Oh, okay.
And then another paramedic came, but this paramedic was kind of like a quite high up paramedic, and he was like, I need him out. I need him out at the back of the ambulance, and I need him like with the fire brigade. I didn't really know what was happening. I'm starting to shake now. You know, the adrenaline's like wearing off. I kind of feel like everything's closing up, and I'm like kind of feeling a bit like I'm fitting, but I'm not fitting. It's weird. And he said, "Oh, this ain't gonna be nice for you, mate. But we've got to soak you for 20 minutes."
And this was there and there?
This was there in the street.
In the street in London, there and then?
Yeah, so I said, okay. They literally made me stand there and they just soaked me with the hose.
Wow.
Obviously I hated it at that point. Like, I was like, what are you doing? Why are you putting me through this? And I'm literally standing there, and as the water's hitting me, more skin's coming off, more skin's coming off.
Because from your point of view, you hadn't seen yourself.
No.
Like, you hadn't looked in the mirror. I mean, everyone around you, the ambulances and your friends would have been able to see you, and they would have seen how bad you are. But from your point of view, you're just like, you don't feel too bad. You haven't seen yourself.
That's it.
So you're in the middle now. Your skin's peeling off. And how long did it then take from after that process to then go to the hospital?
Well, the shot that I was doing was 5 minutes from St George's Hospital. So it took,
thank God for that.
Yeah, 5 minutes to get there. So soon as they got me to a point where they felt like my skin had stopped burning, that's hence the reason why they had to soak me. They got me to the hospital. As we pulled up outside the hospital, there was literally two like nurses or whatever, were standing there waiting for me. They've literally put a mask on me, because obviously the mask. But at this point, my face is burnt, so obviously putting that is really hurting. But no one had listened to my eyes. I was saying my eyes.
Yeah.
But no one was listening to me. This is what I was worried about. I was worried about my face and my eyes. So literally, I walked into resource, and it was like a movie scene. It was just like everyone just pounced on me. I had people checking my head, checking my body. Had a nurse pulled off my boxers and put an injection into my groin. Had injections in my ankle. Just everything, like it was just all over me. And yeah, it was scary. It was scary, but once I was at the hospital, I thought, I'm safe.
You was reassured, yeah.
Because that point of it happening to that point of getting there, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like I was going to be alright, if you know what I mean. And I'm the most upbeat person, do you know what I mean? Like I'm a positive person, but that just, I was still in a point in my mind. I was still like, are you gonna be okay?
That doubt.
Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, after everything had happened, even on Instagram when you were posting stuff, and everyone would have seen you posted the Deadpool stuff, and you were making jokes out of it, and I think everyone around you was still worried. At that point, you hadn't. People are going to see this, and they're going to see your face now on your skin, but at that point, you still hadn't recovered. And and when the doctor spoke to you, did you know at any point? So you'd seen the aftermath. You'd seen yourself now in the mirror. You'd seen your skin. Did you know if you was ever going to recover? If your face was ever going to go back to normal?
Do you know what? They never said I was going to be okay.
No.
Like, they could never say that.
Because they wasn't there. Because no one was sure.
They didn't know. They knew the severity of my burns and my injuries, but they would never reassure me because they didn't know themselves.
They don't want to give you false hope as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, they don't want to give the false hope. I mean, the eyesight that you spoke, when we spoke about it as well, and we were speaking at a point where the recovery wasn't how it is now, you said to me, the thing that I'm hopeful for is the eyesight, because wasn't the percentage something you're not meant to have that eyesight back? Is it one eye?
Yeah, one eye.
You're not meant to have that back by the sort of law of averages. They said to you, what percentage was it? They said
80.
80% that it wouldn't come back.
Yeah, it won't come back 100%.
Wow. And that, obviously for you said that was the big thing, obviously getting older, you want to be able to see your kids clearly, and there was a video that came out, it was Gabriel's birthday, where he seen you and he was filled with emotion, understandably. So that for me was the massive thing as well. I mean, how does it feel mentally? I can't even imagine it, waking up in the morning and you see your face like that, and you don't know, this is my face for the rest of the life. And there's not many people that can say, and this is where I come to the point about near-death experiences as well. There's a lot of people out there that, by the way, are fully qualified in what they do, and they talk about death, they talk about spirits, and it sounds great, but to actually sit across from someone who's come face to face with it, and I say face to face, the truth is you should be dead.
100%.
The doctor told you that you shouldn't be alive, and you are alive. For me, that's inspiring on a personal level. How do you? I mean, do you still get flashbacks of what happened?
Yeah, all the time. Like, I could be driving along and hear a bang and be like, wow. I could be sleeping and hear a bang and be like, wow. Like,
wow.
The biggest thing for me is the smell. I randomly get that smell from that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So obviously, when I've spoken like to the psychiatrist, and you know, the techniques that we've gone through is, if I get that smell, always have something that you smell that you like to smell, so you can shove it in your nose. Because all that is your brain reminding you of what happened. Your brain is reminding you of what happened. Remember this smell? Remember that feeling? Remember what happened then? So you just got to train your brain to forget about it, which isn't hard for me. That's not hard for me. But this has been the hardest thing ever. I've never felt pain emotionally, mentally, physically than what I felt with this. I woke up day after day after day, 3 o'clock in the morning. I've got these, like my full wall is mirrored wardrobe.
Oh, okay.
And I remember probably a week in, and obviously I was bandaged like all the way up and all the way up like this, and I wasn't allowed to put my arms down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For 3 weeks I was like this.
Wow.
Yeah. For 3 weeks, this is how I had to be. So had to have pillows underneath me when I was sitting, pillows underneath when I was sleeping, and it was after one of my first dressing changes, and they was unsure. There was talks about they definitely wanted to skin graft all on my hands. There was talks about maybe amputation of 2 fingers.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because the circulation just wasn't right. I had circumferential burn, so
you potentially would have had your fingers amputated.
Yeah.
I didn't.
So the blood circulation weren't enough. So I remember we did that in a day, and I remember like saying to the doctor, like, please, like I'm struggling with this pain. So they gave me codeine and something else. And I was just taking them, and that night I woke up, it was a Monday night, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got up, just in so much pain, and I just got up and I just sat at the end of my bed, and I looked at myself, and I just burst out crying, and I laid back and I just said to my missus, babe, I can't do it no more. This is hurting me too much. I just can't do it. And she said, no, you'll be fine.
And was that like an accumulation of obviously the physical pain, but almost, I guess, sitting there looking in the mirror, probably thinking about your family, did you feel, and this sounds like a bizarre question, but knowing you, I know you're somebody who doesn't like to rely on many people. You take care of, you're very independent. So did you feel any sort of guilt with sort of looking at your family and thinking they're having to take care of me, and that sort of, like, talking about your missus? I mean, respect to her as well, because I assume she's with you every hour of the day having to take care of you now, having to look after you, and that even in that itself is not an easy thing to do for somebody, and to emotionally be there for somebody as well as physically is a difficult task when you're in a situation like you was in.
Do you know what, like, for those, when I come out of hospital, it was like, you go to my house now, and the kids, I've got 4 boys, they're just boys. They always want to do something, they always want to be playing against each other on PlayStations, and it's loud, it's just a crazy household.
Yeah.
And my kids and my missus had to just change for me because of this, the position I was in. So I felt guilty because kids weren't allowed to have that boisterous play. They weren't allowed to make loads of noise. If Leighton was asleep, we need to make sure
everything. A complete change with the whole.
It was a complete change. So I couldn't thank them all enough. Like, I'd sit there and I'd just be upset, and then she'll come in and she'll go, right, tablet time. Give me my tablets.
Like clockwork.
Yeah, it was clockwork. I never had to worry about anything.
That's amazing.
You had to worry about anything. Like, right, I need to do your face now. My missus is there, just peeling my skin off, dressing my skin, like moisturising me, doing everything that a nurse would do. That's what she was doing. On top of a full-time job, on top of caring for 4 kids.
And this was in, of course, lockdown as well.
This is in lockdown, yeah. When you couldn't go nowhere. The kids weren't allowed to go to their friend's house. The kids weren't allowed to go and do activities what they normally would do. They'd normally be at school for them however many hours. They weren't. They was in that house with us, everyone caring for me. And that's not what happens. I care for them.
Yes, and as well, when you was in the hospital, what was the coronavirus situation like? Was you next to a so now you're crazily in a situation where you've been through what you've been through, and you've got the situation that's happened, but now you're also at risk of, because did you mention to me that you was next to a ward? You was next to a ward for coronavirus, so now you're at risk of coronavirus as well. And I think just to have that accumulation of thoughts, baffling to try and to take it all in. Going back to the appearance of the face, the appearance of your body, you're talking about potentially having to amputate 2 of your fingers. All of that stuff put into one is just, again, I keep reiterating, it's inspirational, because especially now we live in a world where much like inspiration is taken from celebrities, television, and all these external things that aren't really relatable. So to have someone like you, who I consider a very good friend, go through that and come through it stronger, because you was a positive. I mean, you had the personal demons that are continuous to this day, but you was on Instagram cracking the jokes. I mean, I was messaging you, how are you, you okay? And it was that and worry from everyone around you, and even still, it was still apparent within the situation of everything that you were still trying to put on that brave face, and you did it well, because a lot of people were seeing you crack those jokes, but yeah, I mean, it's really interesting for people to see exactly what happened behind the scenes, exactly what happened with the whole accident, and it's really, I think it's going to be for yourself. How do you feel? I assume, do you look at life differently now? I guess it's a common asked question for someone that's been through what you've been through. Is life different to you now after this whole event?
You know what? I used to be one of them people that I was cool, but then I wasn't cool. I was uptight sometimes and I wasn't. This it just made me see that life is how you make it. Do you know what I mean? Like, life is whatever you make it. So you never see me now speaking to just random people that I haven't spoke to in a while and pushing a conversation or begging a conversation, or do you know what I mean? I can't do that, because who would have been broken if this accident went the way it should have? Who would have been broken? I've got to think of them people. So I've got to think of my missus, my kids, my mum, my dad, my sister. They're the people I've got to think of, because they're the people that are going to miss me. They're the people that are going to be broken to know that I'm not around. For people that don't really know me or don't love me or whatever, they're just going to be like, oh no, that Seb's died, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that Seb's died, you know. That Seb's gone now. It's not going to hurt them. So I'll give time to anybody that wants to give me time. But it's made me feel like I will only give my proper time to my proper people. And I don't know, I think you can't, what's that saying? You can't cry over spilt milk. It's like something bad happens, you can't cry. You just got to crack on. You know, like a lot of people have a lot more disadvantages than me. Like, so what if I'm scarred up and I'm patchy? So what if my mind don't really work the same it used to? So what if sometimes I jump out of my bed and I'm scared?
You're just thankful to be alive.
I'm thankful, exactly.
Alive and
exactly. And you know what?
Because I keep reiterating this as well. You shouldn't be.
Exactly.
You know that as well. The doctor said to you, that for me, that's the amazing thing. When you know you shouldn't be alive, I mean, I can't say to you, I can't sit here and say, yeah, I know how you feel, because I don't, and not many people do. But to be able to sit there and confidently know that, okay, I'm living a life, and I wake up in the morning, I eat. You go to the toilet, all these little things, you're a man that shouldn't be alive and you are, so gratitude, I guess, gets maximised on a different scale. So yeah, like, you know me, and you know, like, my exterior is strong. I'm like big, big I am, you know, you never see a weakness from me. But pain is pain. But you know that inside pain that's deep that you can't get to, and nothing you do can fix it. That in the mind pain is completely different. Well, I think 100%, and I think the tricky situation for you is when you say, you know, that pain, a lot of people won't. This is the problem. When you've gone through what you've gone through, a lot of people actually won't. I mean, it'd be the worst thing I could do right now is sit here, and this is what a lot of people do, is you say that and I say, yeah man, it's such a bad feeling, and I can't say I do. I mean, to go through that, there's not, and this will be really interesting for you as you now progress in your life, whether you're on holiday and stuff. And say if you actually sit there and someone actually has gone through that, I mean, that connection that you might have with someone will be phenomenal. And that's the thing where I worry about for you, is the loneliness of it. So when you do, and I assume you are going to have episodes of depression, and it's not episodes of depression where your usual thing where it's really hard to explain, but you're just going to have that sort of episode where you just don't feel like Seb. You don't feel like the Seb that you're used to. This ain't me. And then you probably wake up in the morning, Gabriel says something, you're like, okay, come on Gabriel, let's go here, read message, and then you continue your day. Is that what it's like? You in a situation where now you could be out and it's just, okay, oh, here we go again? Yeah, it is. Like, I get that feeling, like, whenever you see me post some crazy stuff after the accident, it's because I'm feeling down. It's because I'm hurting that day. It's because I'm not myself that day. And all I need is to let everybody know that I'm alright. Because if I do that and make everyone laugh again and make everyone think, oh my god, he's crazy, whatever, because I've made you think I'm crazy, that starts to bring me back to how I'm supposed to be. Trick yourself into I've tricked myself. So I'm always trying to manipulate myself. But sometimes I can be down in the dumps and it's just, I'm just there, and then sometimes it's hard, man. Sometimes you sleep it off. Yeah, what has been actually, when you go through these episodes of what you're going through, what is there sort of any sort of movies? And I know you enjoy watching boxing. Is there any sort of hobbies out there that are actually currently helping you right now with it, or are you in a situation where you're still trying to find them things? I'm trying to find them. I'm not. For me to tell you that I'm good, I'd be lying to you, and I wouldn't lie. But I'm okay.
if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm okay. So I just need to try and find where my direction to get me there. I know nothing makes me more happy than my missus and my kids. My family life is what I love. You know, when the kids are not there, or the kids are not there and it's a bit boring, that's when I go down.
Oh, okay.
So they keep me busy, they keep my mind right.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's just I like sitting, and I take the mick out of my kids all the time. I take the mick out of missus all the time. That's just the way it is. You know, if no one's around, I struggle because I feel lonely.
Now you're with your own self, your own thoughts, and I guess that gives you time to dwell on the situation.
Exactly, and then you start thinking about that day. Then you start thinking, oh no, this could have happened. Oh no, this could have happened. Oh no, I should be dead. That is the thing. When them doctors are saying to me, how are you alive? How are you alive? You should be dead. And they're making a joke. They're making a joke because they're trying to make me feel better, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's making me feel worse because now I'm like, there's just this little bit in my mind that's saying, you should be dead, you know.
Bizarre.
Should be dead. You should be dead. Don't even think about throwing that pack of crisps on the floor. You should be dead. Don't even think about it.
That's crazy. It's crazy, but it's just all these little things now. And I guess the thing is for you is that people need to realise is you're still on the road to recovery. You are not 100% recovered. People saying to me, when's Seb going to be able to fight and stuff, and for me it's like, well, he probably needs to recover first, because people assume when they see obviously aesthetically they assume he's recovered now, and I'm like, no, he's still got a long way to go. There's a shoulder situation. There's obviously the one of the most important ones is the mental situation as well. If you're still having flashbacks and all these sort of things, he's on a solid road to recovery, and we don't know if he's ever going to box again. But we're fine with that because, like we just spoke about, this is more than boxing. This is more than sport. This is more than this is life, and you've got yours. And speaking to you and being able to put this out there to everyone has been, I think, going to be a great message for everyone, and very important for people to hear the whole story and hear what you've said. And you've not come up here and said, trying to get sympathy. You've addressed the stuff that you felt you were doing wrong beforehand, whether you're saying you felt like you were uptight in certain situations. You've gone head first with saying how it's helped you in those aspects. And is there any sort of last message or last sort of thing you'd like to say on the topic before we finish off?
Yeah, I just believe that if you're going to do something, just make sure you do it with your full heart. Because I went into that place that day when this all happened, and I just thought I'd rather mess around and have a joke with my friend whilst I'm working. If I was more vigilant, if I was 100%, it wouldn't have happened, would it?
No.
And there were people in there that I could have killed as well, as well as myself.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it, just make sure you do it. You've got your mind 100% on it.